Hi, welcome to Pyrography Made Easy. I'm Brenda. In this tutorial episode, I am going to show you how to create some simple, easy dewdrops, or maybe you'd prefer to call them raindrops. Either way, they're easy to do, no pattern is required, so let's get started. Begin by drawing the dew or raindrop shape with a pencil. Then use white charcoal to mark the highlight. I am using General's brand of white charcoal. Afterwards, use a writer pen tip to burn over the pencil lines and around the white charcoal highlight. I am using Colwood's MC Micro Writer pen tip for this. Then rub over the area with a pencil eraser to remove the charcoal and excess graphite. I am using a pencil to mark the spot directly behind the highlight. I also mark the halfway spots on the dewdrop. This is not a necessary step, but I find it can be helpful. I'll explain why later on. Use the shader of your choice and burn over the dewdrop. Avoid the highlight. I am using Colwood's J shader for this. I use either uniform strokes or circular motion as my burn method. To make this easier for explanation purposes, the front of the dewdrop is the side where the highlight is located. The back of the dewdrop is the side opposite of the highlight. When burning in the dewdrop, the color should be darkest along the front near the highlight. The color should get gradually lighter as you approach the back of the dewdrop. With the exception of the highlight, the spot opposite of the highlight should be the palest area on the dewdrop. Once the halfway mark is reached, the color along the edges of the dewdrop should be on the paler side. The reason for this is that the halfway mark is where the cast shadow will begin. The highlight marks the spot where the sunlight is striking and entering into the drop of water. The light travels through the water until it reaches the back side of the dewdrop. Once that happens, it reflects and/or refracts, illuminating the back of the dewdrop. Thus the reason the front of the dewdrop is darker than the back. A shadow will be added to make sure the back of the dewdrop stands out and to help the dewdrop look 3D. As I mentioned before, I am using either uniform strokes or circular motion as my burn methods. You can use any burn stroke you prefer that allows you to create smooth gradient color. Of the two burn strokes, I primarily use uniform strokes. It gives the droplet uniform, smooth-looking color. I use circular motion to extend the color and to help with the gradient shading. Now let's add the cast shadow. I start at the halfway mark by burning a thin line. The thickness of the line increases as I reach the spot opposite of the highlight. The shadow should be thickest at the spot opposite of the highlight. Keep in mind that the thicker or wider you make your shadow, the taller the dewdrop will appear. Keep the shadow size appropriate to the size of the dewdrop. For example, if I were to create a dewdrop smaller than the one I'm currently burning, the smaller dewdrop should have a smaller cast shadow. Erase the pencil guidelines. Then, if needed, use a writer pen tip to reduce the size of the highlight. I also used the writer pen tip to burn along the upper and lower edges of the dewdrop to make sure the areas were dark and had crisp, clean lines. Lastly, I switched back to a shader pen tip to darken up and slightly extend the cast shadow on my dewdrop. I have drawn several more dewdrops. Each one is a different size and/or different shape. I also added the pencil guidelines. I made sure that these guidelines matched up with the highlight and shadow placement on the first dewdrop. I did not mark the highlights with white charcoal. I'm using the same burn strokes on these dewdrops that I used on the first one. I am primarily using uniform strokes and some circular motion. Currently, I am using a handset manufactured by Optima. The handset is compatible with my Colwood burner, so I'm testing it out. The pin tip is Optima's spear pin tip. I'm using it on this demo so that I can get familiar with it before I use it on an actual art project. As I begin to work on this oblong-shaped dewdrop, the technique does not change. I still use either uniform strokes or circular motion as my burn methods. Uniform strokes is the predominant burn stroke I'm using. The method for creating dewdrops does not change regardless of the background. If the dewdrop is on a pale flower petal or some other pale object, I create the dewdrop just like I'm demonstrating in the video. If the dewdrop is on a dark leaf or some other dark object, again, I use the same methods to create the dewdrop. Take a look at the cast shadows on the completed dewdrops. Notice how the smaller the dewdrop is, the smaller the corresponding cast shadow is. With the last two dewdrops, I used white charcoal to mark the location of the highlight. I made sure that the orientation of the highlight matched that of the first dewdrop. If you have more than one dewdrop in your artwork, it is very important that the highlight orientation matches on all of the dewdrops. This will keep things from looking off. For example, the inset photo has all of the highlights oriented in the same direction, but change the orientation so they don't match and it looks off, even if it's just one dewdrop that doesn't match. I'm using Cooleyoo's Customizer Engraver to create the highlights on the top three dewdrops. I did a review on this product a while back, and I'll put a link to that video in the description below. Any rotary tool will work for this. I am also using the engraver to fix any problems with the cast shadows below the dewdrops. Well, that's it. We are all done, and this is how they look. Well, that is it for this tutorial. I hope you found the information helpful. On my website, Pyrography Made Easy, I have an old blog that I wrote on this subject, and it covers a bit more than what I did in this video. I will put a link to that blog in the description below. Well, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon.